digest. From lane to the new shining ground, echo chants where the legends are found. Heroes carved in the heart of time, we march on through grit and grime. Oh Tottenham, Tottenham till I die. Raise the banner, let it fly. Through the rain, through the fire, this is my club, my only desire. Oh Tottenham, Tottenham till I die. Raise the banner, let it fly. Through the rain, through the fire, this is my club, my only desire. Echoes of King and Greaves in the air. Every goal, the sound declares. Heartbeats pound like a drummer's song, marching forward, fierce and strong. We're the ones who rise in the clash. Numbers running in a white shirt dash. History burns in the roaring crowd. Every game we scream it loud. I'm Tottenham, Tottenham till I die. Raise the banner, let it fly. Through the rain, through the fire, this is my club, my only desire. We're the ones who rise in the clash. Numbers running in a white shirt dash. History burns in the roaring crowd. Every game we scream it loud. I'm Tottenham, Tottenham till I die. Raise the banner, let it fly. Through the rain, through the fire, this is my club, my only desire.
Hi, guys, and good evening to THFC Till I Die, home at Tottenham, past, present, and exciting future, of course, under Thomas Frank. Fingers crossed. Joining me tonight, of course, is my usual co-host, Tequila. Well, not really. He's Russell Martin tonight. He
Yep,
was
one and
Ange
only.
Postecoglou the other night. Now he's Russell Martin tonight.
My two heroes from football, Dermo, you know that.
I know, yeah, it's shocking, really. You know, me and Rain go for people like Brian Clough and Bob Paisley and Keith Birkinshaw's, people like that. Harry goes for people like Pochettino and Harry Redknapp and players like that. And you go for Russell Martin.
I need my managers to be clueless and entertaining. What can I say?
So, did you ever think of going to a circus?
I go. That's what we see most weeks at White Hart Lane, isn't it? Oh God, I said White Hart Lane, didn't I?
Okay. He's already
White Hart
started
Lane.
with the. He's already started with the.
I'm
banners.
joking. I'm joking. And I called it White Hart Lane. What do we call it anyway, guys? What do we all call it anymore? I don't know what to call it anymore.
The Google Earth.
Google.
.net.
I call it White Hart Lane.
Yeah, it's White Hart Lane to me. It is White Hart Lane to me. But you're all right though, bud.
Yeah, I'm all right. You?
Yeah, I'm all right. Of course, down below we are being joined by legends of the Spurs community. One young one who's only just turned 21 as well. So we're going to start with youngest first. Harry, an absolute pleasure having you on here, bud. I've had the pleasure of joining you twice on We Are Tottenham TV pump-up show. Really enjoy your company, enjoy what you have to say. But, tell people a bit about you who haven't seen you on here before.
Thank you very much, firstly, for having me. And I totally echo what you said and right back at you. It's been great to be on with you recently. Of course, it's been a while before we've done anything. And then in quick concession, we've done 2 or 3, didn't we? We Are Tottenham TV. And, finally coming here, which is absolutely fantastic. So really appreciate you having me. I'm a football content creator, YouTuber, and football writer also as well in spare time. I'm an autism advocate because I'm autistic myself. So it's something that means quite a lot to me. So this year's been very good. And it was a real honour to be nominated as a Football Content Awards finalist. So I'm looking forward to that. The ceremony is is in about a week and 2 or 3 days. So I'm looking forward to that in Leeds, sharing the stage with so many amazing people. So just a privilege to be there, to be honest with you, like it is to be on here tonight. So thanks for having me. Looking forward to talking all things Tottenham, because there's always stuff to talk about, even in an international break.
Yeah, there is. Something else we've got in common. We're both autistic ourselves, so that's something in it. It shows what you can do. It shows what you can do, and when you put your mind to it, you can do anything yourself.
Absolutely.
And of course, the legend, my nemesis, used to be my nemesis. Now is one of my best friends. We clashed once on Dave's show about a protest where, but you know, for the last season, protest should be happening. There was rain. Protest should be happening. The first show on Dave's for the start of the new season, there's me saying the protest should happen, and him saying it should happen. Totally
Yeah,
bizarre.
exactly. Yeah, we flipped. I'm not a legend anyway, shape or form. I'm just an opinionated person who's quite happy to come on shows and have a chat with people. I think there's plenty of people in the chat who, if they if they started coming on, started expressing their opinion in person, who'd probably do it a lot better than me. But you're just going to have to put up with me for tonight, for tonight, Dermot, and I hope I'll do you proud.
You will. You got a fan in Tequila anyway. Tequila's become your biggest fan. I hope it was okay to say that, Tequila.
I do love rain. And it is rain. You said with a Y there, mate. You thought it was Ryan?
Yeah,
Bless
I know.
Bless you.
Do you know, dyslexia is a bitch.
Yeah, I know.
But never mind. Right. Tonight is all about Enoch. Tonight is as the January window creeps closer like a cat in the dark. Or Tottenham Hotspur. Hang on. I did write this down, by the way. I'm trying to see. I have to start again in a minute. There we go. As January window creeps closer like a cat in the dark, will Tottenham Hotspur finally break the circle and chase a new dawn, or will we be gearing up for the same old story wrapped in a fresh coat of hope? So tonight's all about that, guys. Before we go on, we've got a little treat for members before Christmas. Nobody knows I'm going to do this, not even Tequila or James, so this will be a shock. I bought myself a couple of Tottenham tops, which found out they're a bit too small for me. In fact, they are too small for me. Yeah. So what I'm going to do, we'll put them to the members. Only members can apply for this. So if you're a member, you're in the draw. So we'll show you what I've got. The first one is, this is breaking my heart, is the Tottenham Hotspur third kit. As you can probably see, you can't see because of my OBS, but it's the yellow kit and the away kit. So only members can enter. We will do the draw at the beginning of December. So if you're a member, you're in the draw, but to enter it, you've got to pick up a membership. Now, and even if it's a 99-cent one or P1, you will be entered into the draw for 2 Tottenham tops, the black one and the yellow one. So do get involved in that, guys. Big up to David Clark. He says hi from Leicester. You do realise you have interrupted my Mary Berry viewing tonight. Oh, God. We're in trouble, Tequila. You do not interrupt David with Mary Berry. What do we say?
Lovely.
How do we get out of this tangle we got themselves into?
He needs to find better stuff to do, mate. He's not going to like me saying that, but it is. It's a Tuesday night. We should all be chilling, not Mary Berry. No, I just think of ice cream as well, dude.
I think we just stuck ourselves into a deeper hole there. But big up, Dave. I hope you're doing well. Big up to Gerard. They said, is Russell Martin's number 2? We should never.
No, it's Christian Grote is going to be his number 2. That would be amazing.
Oh, right. Where's Ozzy? Is he going in as director of football?
He can be chief scout. There you go. He'd do a better job.
Big up to Mr. Brady, White Hart Lane, somewhere in the Atlantic Ocean. He was in Bermuda the other day. He did find a triangle, apparently. And apparently, and Daniel Levy are in that triangle. So that's where they've disappeared to. So all this about Daniel Levy and the home planet, I think you're spot on, Keela.
Yeah, the 31 Atlas is still in the vicinity. He's going to pick him up, head back out.
Yeah, big up to Dan Davenport. It says hi, Dan, and guess. But everyone's saying hello to, and Dan says I'm autistic as well. Big up to you, Dan. Hope you're doing well. And big up to Harry's spot. We've got Joe Blogs. If you are planning on making a future doing football content, then doing some basic football coaching theory will help you a lot with playing football on a regular basis. Don't know what that's about, but big up anyway. The moment Joe Lewis took Daniel Levy's power at Enoch away from him, then things are obviously going to change. And big up to Harry and Tequila as well. Well, let's start on it. Let's start with the new ownership factor. Are the new owners prepared to spend? And sort of to sort of double down on that, is January their chance to make a statement, or will they play it safe? Tequila, I'll start with you, bud, and we'll go around. Because if you look at it, right, you've always said, right, that January's not the thing for you. It's the summer. So are you still standing by that?
Well, firstly, I'd say is I'm not sure why you're asking us. You're the one who's in such good graces with Viv and Charlie. So don't you have the information more than we do? This is what you told me, and they're not going to be very happy with you kind of throwing shade their way, Demo. Saying you don't trust them and stuff like that.
They don't give me anything. They don't give me free tickets to the games or anything. Do they let me go into the director's box? No.
Oh, right. So we need to butt them up. Okay.
Yeah.
To answer your question, no. Yeah. I said it last night. I think you need to give them the next summer window. I know we don't want to because patience is none of us have much of it, even me, anymore. So we don't want to. We want everything today. But I think in this case, I think we just need to give them a proper summer from the start, because we don't know when the change in power took place exactly. Right? It was during probably the latter stages of the transfer window before these changes were probably going to happen. So you need to give them the full whack. You need to also see if they can do a much better job than Spurs have done when it comes to planning, because we struggled to plan anything. Have you not noticed? We don't plan. And a big reason that I think is, well, you can't plan for next season. You don't know what competitions you're going to be in. You can still plan. You might have to change targets slightly, right? Because you might not be able to go for certain players because you don't get the Champions League, you don't get the money, and they flat out won't want to join, a lot of them, because we're not in the Champions League. But you can still have B and C, and we don't seem to have that. Now, I'm not backstage like you. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's how it comes across. We don't seem to have plans. We don't seem to plan. And Levy's always says we when we sign players, it's opportune signings. Always opportune signings. So that says to me is we just sit on our hands waiting to see what happens. I'm fed up of that. I'm fed up of that approach. So I want to see if there's going to be a different approach now, where we don't just wait for signings, where we're a bit more forceful in the market. We've got our lists. We'll go after them. We won't get all of them. That's not realistic. We won't get all of them. But let's be proactive rather than reactive. Daniel Levy, to a T, in my opinion, he's gone now, was reactive and not proactive. Always. That's why I want to see change. I think we need to give him next summer. After next summer, or like 10 months from now, I think we'll have a better idea if you're right. And I fear you may be right, but I think they need at least one summer. That's what I think.
Look, you guys below both go to a lot of Tottenham games. You go to the stadium a lot more than me and Tequila do. Though we would love to go to every game, but me living in Ireland and Tequila living, I think, up in the country.
I'm not that far, but I can't get medical reasons. I won't be able to get there.
Yeah, so you guys see a lot more. What do the? I mean, start with you, Rain, and then I go to you, Harry. I mean, Rain, you go to most home games. What does the general fan within the stadium want to see in January?
Oh, I don't know. That's a big question, isn't it? Because it's 50. I always say you got 50,000 fans in the stadium, and if you ask them a question, you'll get 100,000 different opinions.
Yeah.
So saying what does the average fan want? I think the reality is that we know we have problems in the squad that need to be fixed. We've got whether that's a short-term, whether those are short-term fixes needed or long-term fixes. I'm not sure. I think there's certain things that need to be done, but the number one thing that is a problem at Tottenham Hotspur and that we would look to have a solution for in January as a striker. And it's been exacerbated by the curse carrying on Saturday. We've had a player who's been injured twice in his whole career, spanning Frankfurt, Frankfurt, PSG, Juve, and he's come to us. He's had a month out with a dead leg, and now he's broken his jaw. You couldn't make it up. And we've had a striker in Solanke who had an ankle niggle. It was described as a niggle, and a player who literally broke his leg in Musiala, literally bone coming through the skin, broke his leg, has made it back onto the pitch before Solanke's with his ankle niggle. It's absolutely remarkable. So I think what people in the stadium would say needs to be fixed in January, if anything, if nothing else, we need to get a striker on the pitch. Whether that's a player who we've currently got in the squad and we get them on the pitch, or whether it's something that happens in the transfer market, because it's just dire.
Yeah. No, I get you. I do understand. So, look, when we do looking at the new owners, Harry, look, do you think they'll play it safe? Or do you want, like the rest of us, we know January's a difficult window to buy anyone anyway. It's a short window. It's only open for a month. But a lot of teams now, for what I was told there about a week ago, are starting to get their business ready. The end of November will be the time they're putting their plans together for January. Do you want to see one statement signing in January? Would that keep you happy until the summer?
Yeah, definitely would. I would be honest with you, go back to the summer and go Xavi Simons. I think that is a different signing to Tottenham that we used to we haven't seen that really in terms of someone that's in their prime, I'd argue, or approaching their prime even, that is ready to go and is a big signing. Typically for Tottenham, it's someone at the end of their career. A good example I like to go back to is Ivan Perisic, a player that we all know as fans that would have been great to see 5-10 years ago, but Tottenham leave it late to the end of his career for multiple reasons. So Xavi Simons felt different in the summer. It felt like intent. Of course, we've seen a lot unfold since that. And I know he hasn't hit the ground running because when you pay big money for a player, fans have this natural expectation. Part of it is understandable that someone's going to hit the ground running. I think a lot of it is price tag. You look at even now with players that we criticise or scapegoats even at the club, it's all with high price tags. I can't see one that has a really low price tag. I think it tells you all you need to know. So, yeah, I mean, it is the same owners after all, isn't it? In ENIC, it's just a new look board. So, I don't know how much will change. If I'm honest with you, I like to be optimistic. That's my whole method of approach. But I also look at this and go, where's this sudden desire come from to achieve sustained success, to win trophies? Where's it been for the past, 2 and a bit decades? And where's it been in my lifetime? Because that was the first trophy I saw last year. And I think they just saw what happened in Bilbao and went, come on, we want more of that. And maybe have woken up and come to the table a little bit. But I think Tequila sums it up perfectly. And with some of the things that he says in terms of Tottenham were not very proactive at all in transfer windows. It's all like we have the scrappings is the way I view it. Whatever's left over towards the end. And to be fair, recently we've gone out there and got the business done early. Then there's been a big lull kind of period in the middle where we just checked out completely. And then, hang on, 2-3 days to go. Let's scramble around. Who doesn't, who's wants to leave a club, who's not been bought. And that's the situation. I'm very glad we got Xavi Simons, but if Chelsea a little bit more. Well, if Chelsea didn't want to sign so many players in the summer, they would have snapped Simons up before. We were just there waiting. We let Chelsea have several weeks in pole position. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy, and we probably preyed on Chelsea, the fact that they wanted other players. Hato, for example, they were very keen to bring in, even keener, I think, for Simons. But the point is, we just wait, and we probably looked at him when Chelsea aren't going to go for him. Let's go for him. We should be going, let's beat Chelsea initially. Why are we waiting? That's the problem. So the summer we missed out on so many targets, even though I think it's a good window overall. So I'm telling myself it's going to be different. I think the board looks good in terms of I like what I've seen from Vinay. I think the transparency we see, the interviews are very key. I don't think we're all of a sudden going to, be buying Mbappe, Ronaldo, these type of players in the January window. I just don't think that's realistic. January is a tough time to do business, but now is the time to, follow it up, because actions, always speak louder than words, and now we need to see that.
Now, look, I just got this from our source, who we do use on the channel, who's always been ultra reliable. It's never got anything wrong, so that's why we use them. And these are Tottenham sort of rumoured January targets. Now, I know everyone's seen Morgan Rogers on there. And yes, Morgan Rogers has signed a new long-term contract with Aston Villa, extending his stay until 2030. Now, that will make that deal either impossible or very expensive. But if you look at the others, guys, Tequila, if you could pick one player from that list, who would you go for in January?
Just so you have to do a show in your underwear, I could say Rodrigo. That would force you to do a show in your underwear.
Can you explain what that's about for people that actually don't know?
It's just Dermo did a throwaway comment last window when we were rumoured to be in, I think it was on loan, and Dermo said if we get Rodrigo on loan, he'll do a show in his underwear. And we clipped it, and we're going to hold him to it. Unfortunately, he didn't sign. So, out of that list, I do like Morgan Rogers, but as you've just said, Dermo, not discounting the fact that Villa are one of our rivals, at least when it comes to places this year. That he's just signed a new contract. He's in more or less his prime or coming up to his prime. The English thing, so the English tax as well, that's 100 million. We ain't paying 100 million.
No.
So I think you can rule that out. Unless like you said, my friend, sorry. One sec, give me a sec here, Dermo. Got a bit of an issue. Bear with me a sec. Sorry, guys.
Okay. Well, while you thought we're going to answer Rain, same question you. Out of that lot, there's two. I've got two things saying. One is top list, one is backup. So we'll go through. So out of that lot, who would you go for?
I mean, I can't see us getting Rodrigo on a permanent, but a 6-month loan in January is always very dangerous because, as we can see with Xavi, and so many other players who are coming in from outside of the Premier League, it does take time to acclimatise. New country, new culture, new location, new not being around friendship groups, and then throw in new league. But very few players hit the ground running. Even with us, I can't think of many players who we've signed in January and have really hit the ground running. Kulu, maybe, I think, is the last one. But there's been plenty we've signed in January and haven't. So I can't see us signing him on a permanent and signing him on a 6-month loan in January. I'm not sure how many solutions that's. I think it's a risk, basically. It's a big risk.
I would have to agree with you. I think it is a risk.
I can't see Rodgers happening. I just can't see it happening at all. Plus, where are we going to play Rodgers? Our clear problems are up top, left-hand side.
Saying that, let me bring up what you sent me, actually, so you can actually make no point of it. This is where the priorities are, guys. As Rain did this for me today, and brilliantly done, by the way, so big up to him. Look, we need a striker, CM, left winger, and a fullback. So where do you play? What in January then? Where's your main priority in January? Right.
A striker. But it all depends on whether we're going to get Moani back and whether Solanke is going to come back. So there needs to be we need firepower up top, and left wing. Where I know that Audebert had a good game when he came on Saturday, but he's still a young player. People have to accept that with young players, you're going to get good games, and then they're gonna have a not so good game, and you're going to get a good game, and not the consistent thing you get with young players is inconsistency. So, we need to be patient with them, because if you're not patient with them, they won't. They'll get anxious. They won't perform to their best, and we won't get the best out of them. We need to be supportive, right? We need to be supportive. So for me, it's left wing, striker, and left wing. So that's why Rodrigo is very interesting. Oliveira is also interesting because we do need left back. We absolutely do need left back. It's quite clear. I don't know where Harry stands on it, but when Udogie came on at left back on the weekend, and when he's come on before, just the fact that he's left-footed, I don't think he's I don't think his level's different in terms of him and Spence. I don't think they're I don't think one is 10% a better player than the other one. It's just the fact that he's just better suited.
It gives you more width. It gives you more width, doesn't he? When he comes on there, it gives you more width on that left-hand side because he is a left-footed player. So that was one of the things when he came on against Manchester United Saturday. I felt, and I did put it in our player, me and Tequila did our player ranks last night, and I did put it into my notes. We got more width on the left-hand side when he came on. So, and then Spence looked more comfortable on the right side when he moved over there. So I think you're spot on with a fullback. I mean, Tequila did say we've been crying out for a fullback since the summer. There's a point I want to get back to you as well, so I'll get back to you in a minute, Rain. Harry, out of that list, I mean, Rain has done some brilliant on some of these players here. He's given some good why we need them. Look, Morgan Rogers, I know it's more of a sort of a dream. It's not going to happen. As I said, he signed a new contract, and it would be very expensive getting out there. You look at Rashkin, Rangers, and you look at Olivier. Out of them two, who would you really want in January?
Great question. Yeah, if I'm honest with you, I think it's easy to say names, but I think realistically, I always like to say the position because, and don't get me wrong, it's no good if we're going to sign, someone that isn't right for the club. Like, no disrespect to Richarlison, but sometimes maybe, like if you said to me, sign up for Richarlison or leave it, I'd go probably leave it and back Dane Scarlett, for example. So that context is absolutely vital. And I haven't seen enough of either players. Of course, we know Rangers have struggled, but have improved defensively as of late. So no, I think either of them would be good additions to the club. But again, it's a case of can we do better? Who's going to be available? All these type of questions, Dermot. And Rogers would have been, of course, my favourite at the three in terms of I just think he's a really good player. But it's not going to happen, is it? He signed a new deal, as you mentioned there. Was it yesterday? So, he's committed long-term future to Villa, which is huge for Villa, by the way. It's magnificent. A bit of business, I'm going to say here, but it feels like a new sign, or it will do for Villa fans. That's hugely significant. But in January, we've got to do things right, which is very easy for me to sit here and say. But sometimes I look at the January window and go, our loan's better because we've got players that are injured. And like as much as I think we need a number 10, for example. But if we sign a permanent number 10, you've got Maddison to come back, Kulusevski to come back. Both I can play there. And you've got Simmons. Well, I'm a very strong believer you can have too much depth. You can have too much competition, which gets to the point of being unhealthy. I do think you can go that way. People go, you can never have too much. I think you can, in my opinion. So we can't be signing a 10 permanently, but make no mistake about it. I don't think Maddison's anywhere near coming back. And Kulusevski, even when he is back, it's going to take a long while to hit ground running. And Simmons to be thrown straight in there. I know he's a great player, don't get me wrong, but this is a lot of where the pressure comes on him. He's thrown straight in there. So we've got to get the January window right. If I'm honest with you, I think the January windows have been okay as of late. I think the one that really stands out to me, I think it's already been mentioned tonight.
It's Kulu and...
Yes, it's Kulu and Bentacle, who both, by the way, within a week hit the ground running and right up here. And that's very key to getting top four under Conte. Then we had the January window where we brought in, I could be wrong. I thought it was Kinski and Danso. I mean, Kinski's just a squad option. Fair enough. There's not much to say about that. But Danso, to be fair, I mean, I'm going to say he has hit the ground running, not in terms of, oh my God, look at this, Romero or Van de Ven like defender, but this solid, consistent player, chucked in Anfield to James's Park and putting in some of the best performances among our back line. And last year, it was a bit all over the place at times, let's be honest with you. And he just added that stability and you could trust him. You really could. Sometimes, more than other senior players around him in that team. So that's real credit to Dan. So January is important. I think we need to get it right. That's what's very key for Tottenham. I don't think
Yeah.
we need to go out there and sign 3 or 4 players. What we do need
to get
to
it
do
right.
is get the right positions and the right players. So, although I'm not sure we question in terms of the 2 players, I think that left-hand side is something to target. Second half, so much better down that side. A doggy, yes, adds more balance, adds more, I think, attacking firepower, because Spence is great, don't get me wrong, 1v1 defending, but if you ask him to go forward and put a cross in for that left-hand side, he just doesn't do it. He won't cross at all. He drive forward, I think, oh, great, but then turn and go backwards. The doggy, for me, should be Tottenham starting left back. And he needs to start a left back, though, to offer competition for him in case he gets injured.
Yeah. No, I agree. Look, Tequila, look.
I was going to ask you, Dermo, quickly, before we move on. Those list of those players you've given us, right? Could you put it back on the screen for us?
Yeah. I've got backups as well if you want to see them as well.
Yeah, so looking at that list, right, I want to bring everyone down to earth a little bit. What makes you think that, with the exception of probably the player from Rangers, that they would be interested coming from their current clubs to Spurs?
Yeah, definitely.
Rangers would be a step up, right? With all due respect to Glasgow Rangers, it's a step up, right? The Premier League
definitely
alone.
is a step up.
Napoli and no mugs anymore in this area. Napoli and no mugs.
Saying that,
Real Madrid and Villa.
Yeah. Saying that, though, did you see the comments Conte came out with over the weekend? Where's Conte manager in Italy?
Well, who's Conte managing? He was managing Napoli, wasn't he?
Yeah, Napoli. He's not. There's a lot of unhappy. It's not a good atmosphere at Napoli at the moment. So if you're a player,
that's fair enough, dude. But I just mean just in general. I think we just need to take the blinkers off a little bit and just say, can we even attract these players? With the exception of the lad from Rangers, who, with all due respect, that's realistic. I don't think Morgan. You're Morgan Rodgers. Do you think Spurs have a better project than Villa right now? Do you? Really? Is that an upgrade from Morgan Rodgers' perspective right now?
I think Villa is a much safer club for Rodgers to be at. You know, going back to what Harry said, if Rodgers comes to Tottenham, he's literally going to be competing with Xavi, Madders, Kulu, and it may feel, you know, it may sound great, you know, to come into that type of squad. And maybe if there was just one, we've lost Harry. Maybe if there was
he'll be back in a minute.
Okay. Maybe if there was just one of those players, then it'd be okay. But competing with 3, I think I'd look at it and think, that's not the next step for me. With Rodrigo and Oliveira, I'm looking at both of those and thinking those are loans. Those are 6-month loans. And both of them, Tequila, would be time. Both of them, neither of them are playing very much for Madrid and Napoli as it currently stands. I don't know whether Oliveira has played I don't know whether we could play them in the Champions League. I'm not sure it matters, to be honest. But it would be, are they going to get game time at Tottenham? Are they're not getting game time where they currently are. So, you know, that would be the attraction, especially on just the 6-month loan.
A loan is a possibility, but I just feel sometimes as Spurs fans, and Dermo probably won't agree with me, I think we think we're a little bit more attractive than maybe we are. It's like when you look in the mirror on Saturday night.
I do agree with you on that, by the way.
I'm not saying these things. Rain makes a good point. On a loan is slightly different because the player's not committing full time, so it's less of a gamble for the player.
Yeah.
And that's fair. But on a permanent, Rodrigo might think to himself that I'm better than Spurs. That's all.
Yeah.
I know less about the chap from Napoli, so I'm thinking it's mainly Rodrigo and Rodgers who I think that's kind of like dream talk in my mind. Those two especially. So.
Well,
can I just David Clark made a very relevant point further up, a lot further up, which I'm going to come back to about the January window and about ENIC. I think the biggest difference that we're going to see is this relationship between the Don and Langer, and how we're going to see how that works for the first time, because the the good January windows that we've had came under the Don Fabio was responsible for them. So I think Porro came in January, and then we had the dynamic duo came. He wasn't responsible for Danzo, I don't think. I don't know. But is Paratici going to be able to pull something out of the hat for January like he has done before? I'm gonna so that's going to be a new dynamic that's going to be very interesting to see where it is. But I'm going to go back and I'm going to reiterate something that Harry said. The most important thing is that we don't make any more mistakes. I think Kinski was a mistake. Signing him to a long-term contract is now kind of scuppered us, because it makes it more difficult to go and get a better keeper than Vicario, because we're going to end up with 3 keepers unless we can sell one of Vicario or Kinski. When having Austin as a backup was kind of doing us okay, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we must not make any mistakes, because it costs you in the long run.
It does. It does. We've made these mistakes before, haven't we? Over the years, we've made the same mistakes over and over again. And my question is, and my worry is for January and next summer, that Ian are going to make the same mistakes again, because it's still the same people at the behind the steering wheel. Anyone that tells me Daniel Levy was running that club by himself are deluded. Enoch and Levy were running it together. Anyone that works for a company has to work to a remit. We want this done. We want so much money made during this calendar year. You've got, and then we'll give you a bonus out of it for making that. That was Daniel Levy's remit, and he done that very well. He built the stadium for more revenue. It wasn't revenue for us. It wasn't revenue for the football team. It was revenue for the directors, for Enoch to make more money. A bit like a cash cow. They were using Tottenham as a cash cow. We even got this weekend, we've got the second Eubank Ben fight happening at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. How much money? I mean, I know they rent the stadium, the promoters rent the stadium, and we only get what people buy within the stadium. The rest of it goes to the promoter and goes to where else. But how much that money, if that was under Daniel Levy, we think most of that goes back into the non-football inside the Tottenham Hotspur. Now, are you guys hoping that this time round, the money we make off that fight on Saturday goes back into the football side? How confident, Tequila, are you that will happen? And I've got a different question for you, Rain. So it's a 2-pronged question, but on that bit first, Tequila, how sort of confident are you? Because I'm not confident at all. I just think it's the same old, same old.
When Enoch came in all those years ago, I thought that as much shit as we all give them, excuse my language, it's not 9. I actually think they were quite transparent at the start. They said this is an investment opportunity. The only promises they ever made, I've spoke to you about, is 4 demos. They said they'd get us into the Champions League, and unfortunately, if you want to look at it that way, when it comes to them, is that they did what they said. So maybe unfortunately for us, because they didn't say we're going to win the league, that's probably what we all wanted to hear. They just said we're getting into the Champions League. It took us 5 or 6 seasons to do so, but eventually we cracked that nut, and they did what they wanted. But they were always open from the start. This was about money and financial about financial gain. They never came in, and I know we're going back 25 years now, but they never came in, unless I'm remembering it wrong. And if somebody's got proof out there that I'm wrong, by all means, send me a link of quotes when they came in and they were talking about, we want Spurs to win the league and win all these things. Because I don't remember ever hearing that, Dermo. No, they never came in and said that. So why would we think that they ever will care, have ever cared, and will ever care about anything else than the bank balance? Because that's what they said from the start. That was the most important thing to them.
And I mean, Rain, we go back to a year where Tottenham nearly went. We can go back to a time when Tottenham nearly went out of business completely under Scholar. And the amount of, I mean, under Scholar and then under the previous ownership, the Bermans and the Richmond's family, that owned it before Scholar sort of played on people's securities to gain a foothold within the club. You know, we were quite successful. Yeah, not mega successful, but we won trophies. We were, you know, early 80s. What was it? 1, 3, 4. What was it? 5 trips to Wembley in 3 years or something like that, wasn't it? In the early 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And then Scholar took over, built the West Stand, got into debt over that. We tried doing the same thing with the East Stand, got into debt with that as well. We overspent. We went into businesses. I sent Tequila a load of videos about Scholar at the time, going into other businesses. We went on to the stock exchange and everything like this, and we nearly went bust, owing £8 million to Midland Bank, which nowadays, Rain, is not a lot of money. Back then, it was a hell of a lot of money. And Alan Sugar came in and saved us. Do you think then Tottenham were always on the sort of spear of whoever comes in is we're going to make money first, secure the club first, and then success later?
I mean, Alan Sugar didn't really do that, did he?
No, he didn't, to be fair.
I mean, there was a tussle between him and Terry Venables
Mm-hmm.
When the club got taken over. But Alan Sugar was very much was very much a steady hand.
Yeah.
Clearly, I might be miles off here, but I think he was quite happy to use Spurs to as a way to network to sell satellite dishes and boxes.
Yeah, to be fair.
To be honest, but I make Tequila right. Enoch and Levy at the start, when he was a little bit too vocal, he learned and he stopped talking.
He learned to shut up pretty quick, didn't he? But not for the first year or two. But then he learned to shut his mouth.
He was
for
quite clear that the English National Investment Company was looking at Tottenham Hotspur and the Premier League as a growth industry, and boy was he right. I mean they've made absolute chuckloads of capital off of their investment in Tottenham Hotspur. I don't see. I do think that Enoch can be different under Viv and Charlie as opposed to under Joe and Daniel. I do think it can be different. And I do think there's many examples of family-run firms, which is effectively what the Tavistock Group is, and Enoch is a family-run firm, going from one style of interacting on a business level under the founder, who is in this case is Joe Lewis, the dad, and then the kids take over. Usually the kids ruin it. Usually the kids come in and they mess it up, but it's not unusual for the kids to come in and after loads and loads of years, and they've worked for dad, and we're calling them kids and they're 60, whatever, but it's not unusual for them to come in and then say, right, well, we're going to do things completely different now. We had to do it that way because of the old man, but now we're in charge, and actually we want to do things different. So it will be interesting. I will say the investment that they've announced, that feels just like the previous £150 million.
It does.
Investment.
Wasn't that Champions League money anyway that was owed to us?
I don't. No, that was they diluted some of the shares.
The shares. Yeah.
You're talking about the factoring. Talking about the invoice factoring.
Yeah.
where they took out a loan and they leveraged it against some of our future revenues. It's a very, very common thing in business, by the way. Most businesses do factoring. There's whole industries based around it. The theory is that they can make 15% on the money if they've got it now, compared to the 10% interest that they'll provide to the factoring companies.
I get you.
So that's what they're looking at. I'm not expecting ENIC to invest any of their own money in the football club, and if I still had some money to put down on the table, I would still bet that within 18 months, the football operations and stadium will be sold. That's what I think will happen. I think they'll sell the football operations and the stadium to a Saudi investor who wants the stadium for the kudos it gives them for the events and the football, and that they would keep the other parts of the Tottenham Hotspur group, Tottenham Hotspur Limited, the property investments, which is what ENIC has always been about. It's been about the property.
So you wouldn't be surprised if just very quickly, you wouldn't be surprised if a Middle Eastern somebody comes in and buys the footballing side, but the business side ENIC will keep because of they're into properties and the money they can make from reinvesting within the area then. Yeah,
basically, and building their hotels, in renovating Hotspur Way. They want to do a Wembley Way to the station. Basically, they want to knock down all those flats and rebuild them. I can't remember what it's called.
I think I read that somewhere. Right,
Lily White something. That's what I would expect to do. I'm not expecting ENIC to behave any differently.
No.
I just hope that Fabio Paratici, between them, Paratici and Langer, can do better with the money that we've got, because we've got plenty.
Yeah. I think that's important, isn't it? Do better. Look, welcome back, Harry. I know you had to pop off and get your other podcast. This man multitasking, he's the new Alan Sugar of the Tottenham community. Look at him. He's going to be, when we're old enough YouTube, he's going to be a multi-billionaire running he'd be buying Tottenham next. With the window coming up, guys, right? It's just a one-worded answer from you, just yeah or nay. So Tequila. All right, numbers. Sorry, how many players do you expect Tottenham to get in January?
Permanent or loan?
Either. We can say which one. You can say one permanent, one loan. So do it that way.
2 loans.
Okay. Rain?
I would say somewhere between 1 and 2 loans.
Harry?
2 loans.
I'm going for 1 permanent, 1 loan. Who that permanent is, I don't know. Would I like Rodrigo to come to Tottenham? Hell no, because I'll have to start a show in my boxer shorts, which I said I would.
No one wants it.
No, nobody wants to see that. So Rodrigo, do not come to Tottenham. I'm pleading with you. Go somewhere else. Where can we send them that could be boring? Unless I send them to Arsenal. We never get a game there. That's where the other traitors went as well.
West Ham under Nuno.
Yeah, that's true. Send them to West Ham. They've got a garden gnome as manager there, very well done as well. Look, we are going to try to keep this into an hour. So we've got 10 more minutes left of this podcast, and then we will call it a shift then. We've already gone over ENIC, and we've gone over their vision and reality, so we've sort of all talked about that. Now I want to talk a little bit about the squad and the squad we've got at the moment. Now, as I said, Rain did this for me. Didn't know he was going to do this for me. He did it for me. These are his notes, but I thought they were so good. We would actually use them within the show. So I'm going to bring you in the end, if it's okay, Rain, because I know you did this, but I want to get Tequila's and Harry's point on this. Harry, look, I'll start with you, then I'll go to you, Tequila. Harry, look, to build a squad, it is to better, of course, there will be 1 in 1,000 exceptions, but generally. So you look at the play, you look at the three things here. Spurs sign players 21 years old. So we understand their quality and character. So in the green, you've got Kudus, Xavi, Danso, Palunia, and Kolo. In the red, you've got Tel and Taki. Then the next one down is sign players before pre-season. So the coach has a pre-season with the whole team. We've got a few. We've got Danso, Palunia, Taki, Tel, Kudos. In the red, Rarani and Xavi. And then the bottom one have 2 players in each position. So there's quality cover across the squad for the season. So right back, right full back, right centre back, striker, goalkeeper, centre mid, and right wing. We've got covered there. Sia Cam, sort of in between the two, but a left field back, a left wing, left centre back, and a defensive midfielder we don't. You look at the players that we've came in, and we look at the players that are in the red. Should them players be always in the green? Because isn't it better to get players in early for a manager to work with them?
In an ideal, world that you're never going to live in, yes. But the thing that does concern me is that last one, have 2 players in each position. In my personal opinion, again, in hindsight, it's easy to say, and to sit here for me to say is so easy. But I think every club in Europe should really be having every single position in that green. And I don't think that's being dramatic or, over exaggerated or anything like that. I think we're seeing, it's not just Tottenham. I think you look at, for example, Crystal Palace. I think if Glasner leaves, they implode. They've got a good, decent 11 that he's got a lot out of, but the squad depth to me they don't have. And Palace are really keen, were keen to get to this international break. They looked leggy. I don't know if you saw their game against Brighton. I mean, that could have been there for them to take, but they just really, you could tell, grinding that game out because they've really struggled their fitness. And it's not surprising, you haven't got a squad. And for me, Tottenham this year have added quality and also depth. Quality, I'm talking Paulinia, Kudus, Xavi, hopefully over time. And we've added depth. I know we didn't get rid of Basuma, which is probably what I'd have done. We've naturally got more depth in that number 6 role because we've kept Basuma and we've also got someone else in Paulinia. That's more depth than before. And you have to look in a couple of different positions. But also we failed. Not to replace Son is criminal. It'll be funny. I think it's right for him to leave, but not to replace someone of that legacy, of that kind of name is unforgivable. It's interesting to have 2 players in each position. I don't necessarily agree with the defensive midfielder, to be honest with you. I think that we do have 2 defensive midfielders. So I'd push back on that. So C grade, in my opinion, though, is more of an 8. So that's where, to contradict myself there, maybe isn't seen. I would say it would be Basuma and Paulinia. Bentancur can play there, but at the same time, I recognise Basuma's hardly playing. So I think you could, there's nothing wrong with that at all. It's just for me, I could get almost about that and cross that off. But left wing, for example, very important to put in that in there. The left centre back, these are real issues for Tottenham. We just feel like Tottenham don't plan for a crisis. And we're not a club that does things the easy way, not being funny, whether it be injuries, we're winning games, seeing out games. I just feel like we're not prepared. On paper, it all looks all rosy. But if you said, I think that Tottenham board, I don't know about the new one necessarily, but if I said to maybe Daniel Levy, whoever it may be, okay, this will go wrong, or this team will be better than you thought, I'd go, really? Oh, what do we do? There's no plan B, as I call it, which is way overused in the football terms. So I have some concerns. There should, of course, be more players in the green. The only thing I would say is in the top one, I think that, it's important to sign for the future. I just feel in the last few years, and this may be slightly unpopular, we've neglected now and thought about the future too much. And it was, reversed a little bit in the summer. We signed established players. I think Kudus was maybe a little bit of a punt in terms of he had a poor second season at West Ham, but I think that's still a player that is established to some extent, and we know what he's capable of. But Paulinho for me is a big one. Recognise that we need experience, which is good. I'm all for signing young players because they're going to be great. But what I'm also concerned about is the academy. I just think, will we get, for example, the next Harry Kane? This is a question to really put to people. Will we get to see someone like that? Not necessarily because they've got the same quality, but will they get the same opportunity, the same run of games? Because Dane Scarlett now must be thinking, when else am I going to get an opportunity? Richarlison's probably, I think, in one of his worst periods of form for a little while. I mean, that's not difficult necessarily in terms of the bars always low. But Moani is out injured and could be, of course, for some time. Solanke's out injured. Tel can play a striker position, can play out on the left. I just think for Scarlett this season, when else is he going to get another opportunity where we're in all, competing on 3 different fronts as well? So if he's not starting any kind of game, or not coming off the bench enough, he must be thinking, what's the point? And I just don't think someone like that, we don't even know whether don't want to compare him to Kane, but the point is, he comes on, wins a penalty, if he takes it to me, well, we think hopefully would score it. He doesn't, etc. But he does well. When are we going to give players opportunities? And more for bringing young players in, but also remember the academy. We've got some talent in there too.
Yeah, we do. I mean, me and Tequila did the watch along to that, and we both said, didn't we, Tequila, that we found Richarlison selfish. He should have given it to Dane Scarlett to take. I think it would have done his confidence a rate good. Look, I think you make some good points there, Harry. You really do. But Tequila, I want to focus on with you, with Tel and Taki and Morani. Colo. With Colo, I mean, he is alone, so we might do or might not buy him next summer. That's up in the lap of the gods. Would tell you and me were both very much on the assumption that another year on loan would have been the right course of action to take with Tell. Do you still stand by that sentiment, Tequila? Do you still stand by that comment that you feel that you stand by that? And also with the two players in each position, yes, you probably could say DM, we probably have got cover, and Harry does make a very good point there. But with the left wing, the left fullback, something you banged on about in the summer window, Tequila, is planning another issue at Tottenham. So I know it's a two-pronged question, Tequila. Sorry, but
it's okay. Cool. Let me, if I can just quickly go over Rain's part here. I disagree a little bit with the top one, because I think we did have one of those windows a couple of years back, and we were all up in arms, screaming for experience, kind of like Harry said. We were like, oh, well, another young player. And it got a little bit of a running joke, where it's like, oh, what 18-year-old are we going to sign this week? And this was the running joke because we went too far with it. So I think when I look at the green and I look at our signings, I think that mixture is kind of just about right. You got Kudos and Xavi, who are not young, but young, right? Then you've got Danzo, who's in the kind of prime years of his career. You've got Moani, kind of similar. And then you've got the older, experienced guy in Paulinho. So I think that's a really good balance. And I think if we had that kind of balance every year, that's a really good kind of, or you're covering all bases there. So I think last season, when it came to the age of the players, I think that was a very good blend. I understand what Rain's on about. I know what he means. You sign them when they're young. Number one, they're going to be cheaper, which is important at Spurs. Number two, you will get a better idea, like you said, about character and quality. And number three, whether we like it or not, more room to sell them on. Which, because we're not financed by an oil baron, we have to take it out into account. What return can we get if these players don't work out for us? So all that's it. And it's the middle one, I'm 100% in agreement with Rain. There's 100%. I don't think how anyone can have an argument on this one. No. We always sign players. We wait way too long. Then this is all about the planning stuff that you talked about. If we planned ahead, we could get all our signings done before pre-season. What year was it? It might have been under Conte, where we deviated from our normal course and we signed 3 or 4 first team players before pre-season, and we were amazed that we did it because it was so anti-Spurs, because it's just not how we operate.
Was it Ange's first season?
I can't remember which manager. It was a couple of seasons ago. It wasn't last year, but it was a couple of seasons ago. We were all surprised.
Was that the one when we bought Van der Ven, Vicario? Was it? It might have been under Ange. It could have been under Conte as well.
We acted really, really fast, much faster than we ever had before. And it's like, wow, we're actually going to get in most of the players we want before. I remember because we got so many players in early, we all thought, oh, there's going to be a couple more near the end of the window. And it didn't materialize, because for once we did all our business in the first half of the window. And I think it should be like that most years for the reasons that the Rain's put up. So the manager can get an idea of his players and then prepare them better. And as for the third one, Dermo, there's a reason why World Cup squads are like 25 men, right? Because that is the perfect size. You've got two players in every position. You can argue if you want a third goalkeeper, you can debate that one. And then you've got a couple of players who are utility, like Gray, like Ben Davis, who can cover multiple positions and cover for the gaps. So if you look at that, though, I think there's still gaps in the squad, Dermo. Like we said, the fullback. The thing is, when you say a striker, guys, if you look at the numbers of strikers we've got, we're not short. It's just that they're not very good. We've got the numbers. Dane Scarlett is the young prodigy. I use that in quotations, by the way. You've got Richarlison, Solanke, and Moani, who can all play that role to varying levels, but you can't say we haven't got the numbers. And remember, we only tend to play one up front. Yeah, we play a 4-3-3 or whatever, or 4-2-3-1. But normally it's just one number 9. We've got 4 of them. So the numbers wise, you can't have a problem with it. We do have enough strikers at the club. They're just not very good.
Yeah, no,
Or they're injured, which you can't do anything about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, they're injured.
That's it. You make that point, and you do look at Dane Scarlett. You do look. I don't think. Look, maybe my mood's changing on him, Rain. Maybe it's your influence on me. Maybe it's me looking at him in a different light than what I had. I see you smiling there like a Cheshire cat. But look,
music to my ears, Dermot.
I know. Look, I'm very much youth coming in. You look at over the years, Nicky Barmby came through the academy.
Yeah.
You had even him that went down the road came through our academy. Wish he didn't, but can't be helped. I know Harry Kane sort of came through our academy. I know he started down the road, then we poached him and he came through.
I mean, there's quite a long list. I mean, Ledley King, Anthony Gardner, we brought through. Walker and Rose, we bought them very, very young, but for not a lot of money. And
Walker from Sheffield United with Norton. Do you remember that double signing?
Yeah, and we do spend money on young players, which is fine, but it's fine to buy players into your academy. That's there's not a problem with that. Because the problem I have is when you spend 30 million on an 18-year-old who you don't know, it's a punt. So 30 million punt, whereas like Lancashire, I think cost us like 1 or 2 million. Don't do this one. Don't do this one. Go back to the
okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So it's fine. So I mean, Anthony Gardner, Ledley King, Walker, Harry Kane, definitely. I mean, we bought in Bale. I see David Clark's mentioned Bale. I think
we got Huddlestone as well. If you count him,
Peter Crouch is another one. I think we're chasing Bale's the new Bale more than we're chasing the new Harry Kane. I think we're chasing the player who we signed for 5 million and we sell for 100. That's what's been chased.
Yeah, but you never get them, do you? You never get them. They're once in the like a Harry Kane. They're once in the generational type player.
The thing is, Dermot, too many clubs have caught on. Levy was pretty smart, and him and Mitchell, wasn't it? They got Bale, they got Modric, all these kind of like wonder kids, right? Kind of wonder kids. But now teams like Brighton, for example, they're the best example, are just way ahead of that curve, and they've surpassed anything Levy's trying to do because they're getting them even before that, when nobody's heard of them.
When I did this actually at the end of the window, and when I did this, I absolutely meant what Sakita's been saying, which is there's actually way more in the green than I would normally expect to see.
Yeah,
there's way more. It's actually that top one it is quite a nice balance.
it is.
Signing Kudus, Paulinia, Danzo, and even Zabi, and more. Actually, all 5 of them were absolutely the right.
It's a good
profile.
blend, isn't it? It's a good blend. You get
really
a good blend.
the right profile for us, and I just hope this is going to carry on. The bottom one is the really big concern, and if you remember, I think this is why we were so desperate for Nketiah. At the end of the window, because he would have filled both the left fullback and left centre back, and he would have moved those over across into the green. I do agree. Defensive midfield is a bit questionable. It's a bit, do we have cover? I think the honest answer is that we don't. I think the honest answer is we've got Paulinia. And then we've got some people who can cover, but really are right.
I was about to ask you, Rain. Yeah. People consider Bentancur a defensive midfielder. I don't. People consider Bissouma a defensive midfielder. I don't. We've got Paulinia. He's what I call a defensive midfielder, but that's all we've got.
See,
I know. Harry said Gray. I'm not sure what Gray's best position is. I don't know if he does either. Me and Dermo said about this. I don't know what his best position is.
And for me,
he needs to work that out. He's got plenty of time.
Well, Gray looked really good in the 8 for me this year. I think Gray looked a lot better there. But with Bissouma, I would say he's best with Brighton when he was that 6. almost like that Carlos Believer that Brighton have got now, except he isn't up to that kind of standard this year. So I push back on the Basuma thing a bit, but with Gray, I think you're right in terms of we don't know his best position. I don't think he does either. But when he's played in that 8, like I remember Bodo come on, I think that game, there's one other in the Premier League wasn't there that he just stepped into that 8 and was a lot more natural. I prefer him going forward. I think he keeps the ball really well, has good close ball control. And I think if we're having to use him in defence still, which we have a couple of times now this season, that tells you surely there's a problem somewhere. I mean, it's credit to him, don't get me wrong, he's trusted, but it's a problem if having to say, look, such your best position, we can't be bothered to go out there and get the replacement, or go out there and sign enough depth or quality. Sorry, you're gonna have to do a job again. That just hinders his development for me. I don't think he does help him. We have all this Ange. I like Ange, but all this, it's going to help him. Maybe if he's ever wants to be a centre back at the end of his career, but apart from that, it's not going to help him. It's stopping his development as a midfielder. For me, it's as simple as that.
I think for me, like when we sold Højbjerg, or when under Ange when he went out on loan, I think Højbjerg and Almunia together would be a great double pivot, because you got that. Yeah, you got Højbjerg with his passing ability as well. I don't think Højbjerg is everyone's cup of tea. I think a lot of people are glad to see him go, but I think if you put 2 number 6s together, it works better, because Bentancur for me is an 8. He's not a 6. And I think he plays better in the midfield and more forward to run. Look, guys, sort of coming to the end now, so we're going to go and sort of into Thomas Frank's vision, and this is the last sort of topic tonight. Show. Big up to James who's coming to the chat. Big up to you, bud. We're looking at. Hang on. Oh yeah, this one. So we've done the squad. We've done the players. So I really want to answer this question. Who really held the steering wheel at Tottenham? Now, we know Daniel Levy. We can all remember the day where we were, the day Daniel Levy left the football club. I think Tequila passed out in the maintenance.
I had a party.
I think Harry ran outside and went, hallelujah. Rayman just went for a bottle of champagne and went, pop that cork. I'm drinking this. I mean, I was dumbstruck. So really, who really had the steering wheel? Was Enoch calling the big picture shots with Levy just carrying them out? Or did Levy have a more day-to-day control than fans realised? Look, I'm going to start with you, Tequila. I'm going to go around no, actually, go around the other way. Leave it to last, Tequila, because you have more to say in this than most of us. Harry, Daniel Levy. I've asked this question on here, what's his legacy? But the last part of this topic is, what is Daniel Levy's legacy?
Great question. That's a very, very big one. I think Daniel Levy's legacy can be of progress. It can be of off the pitch success with the new stadium. That is significant. I'm not one of those fans, even though, I think we'd be better off without. I can appreciate the work he's done. The training ground, the stadium, and people go, oh, is that it? These are significant things that take a football club from here to here. They really do, in terms of what we can bring into the club, and whether it's spent wisely or not, whether it's spent at all. These are all questions that are valid to have. But one thing for sure is that it will make a difference, and the intention is there. And look at so many clubs now. Think of Newcastle, right? So James's Park, don't get it wrong, it will generate a lot in terms of it's got a lot of seats. But if they could, they're in the luxury area, let's say, to build a 60,000, let's just say, to be generic here, stadium that can host more than just football, which the James Park currently does, they could bring in a lot more money. There are other teams the same. There's no surprise that Everton have done it, and they'll be able to spend more as a result. Because I don't always think it's been spent wisely, and maybe it has been spent wisely more recently, but the money's been higher in terms of spend in the window since we moved into the new stadium. That is no coincidence. That's a direct relation, right? And I've got frustrated because I'm like, we spend on this money and we're wasting it there. And the Ndombele, Sessegnon, the Celso, several. I like Richarlison, but it's wasted there, isn't it? Not being funny as well. So I just get frustrated in that point of view. But I think Levy himself, again, that's the problem is we don't know how much he's involved. We assume he's this guy that gets involved last minute in deals and makes it difficult, or also with Porro can step in and get it done last minute. I think overall, without trying to waffle too much, I think his legacy is positive, but one of overstaying is welcome.
Yeah, no, you make some good points. You make some very good. I want to go back on the point you made, by the way, about Levy. So I'm going to go back on that. Rayman, Rain to many people, Rayman to his mates.
Fine.
what is Daniel Levy's legacy to you?
I mean, his legacy is a stadium, isn't it? That's that's going to be the lasting and enduring aspect of the club that he will he will be able to point to, and other people will point to and say Daniel Levy delivered that, and he made sure that was embedded in folklore with his interview with Gary Neville. You know, and that really sort of enshrined it. In answering what was Daniel Levy's involvement, I'm very clear that that Tottenham Hotspur was being run as though it was a small firm of dirty people. And Daniel Levy as the CEO / chairman, which isn't unusual in those types of relatively small enterprises, had the final financial authority on any significant capital expenditure. Now, in significant corporate environments, that's not the way that it works. The CEO does not sign off on all capex, and that's what players are. Players are capex. Players are capital expenditure. They're an investment. They're an asset investment in ongoing operations, and you hope that they would have a future value that you could then sell them on for if you develop them or if they demonstrate further value. In major corporations, that's not the way that they work. The executive committee, which has a series of C-suite executives, all have financial authority to deliver against their budgets. It should not be the CEO and chairman signing off on every single deal, because ultimately that means that they're the ones who are making the decision as to whether the deal is the right one or not, and they're not. And that's not their line of expertise. Daniel Levy's line of expertise was quite clearly in financing. He was very good at it, and in some aspects of the commercial side of the business. The financial authority should have been delegated to a director of football, managing director, whatever you want to call it, a CEO like Vinay, who is more steeped in the football side of the business, in the football operations. That's what happened with Arsenal and under Wenger with David Dein. He was the one who signed off on those, not the chairman. It was David Dein, because David Dein was very good at that. We never did that, and quite a few of our DOFs really pushed back on the fact that they could not do that. So Paul Mitchell railed against it. I can't remember the name of the guy at Brighton. I want to say Bloom. It's not Bloom. The current CEO at Brighton was with us and wanted to do that, but was not allowed to by Daniel Levy. Daniel Levy kept that I'm going to have the final say on that type of expenditure. I'm going to take that authority away from you. So that's where I think we've been held back. So often, how often, guys, did we hear Daniel Levy's going to take a step back, and then it never happened?
He never did he? To be fair, he never did.
No, because I don't think he was incapable. I think he was incapable of realizing that actually that's what should happen. So the next steps are: what happens? What happens at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club? Do we get the right person and the right people and the right process, the right governance in place to make sure that our money? And I totally agree with Harry. We spent money, we just bloody wasted it. You know,
Yeah.
we spent 60 million on Richarlison when nobody else, when we were in a one-horse race for Richarlison. It's just, you know, his legacy is the capital that's been built into Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. And unfortunately, a legacy of misinvestments in players.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I mean, look, Tequila, you're not the biggest Levy fan, to be fair. You didn't want you weren't his sort of shine. You weren't thinking how great he was, were you? To be fair, No. We've talked about his legacy, haven't we, you and me? And I sort of know where you're at it. You did.
Yeah, I mean, right, you guys more or less summed it up. I mean, there's lots more I can say, and I can say a bit, but failure is the word that I would use.
I didn't mean to come across Rayman, but I did say that sort of at the end when he was going through, and I just said failure, which for me is what he should be judged on. Every chairman is judged on what you do on the football pitch, isn't it?
This is the driest period, certainly of recent modern history, of Spurs' tenure, right? It's and I know what the arguments are. Well, back in the days, you didn't have all the super clubs like City and Chelsea spending that money. Maybe not to those levels, but there was always eras. Everton had their era. Man United, obviously. Spurs had a little bit of an era in the 60s. So these things do come and go. It goes in circles. But I think for every good decision Levy made off the pitch, he made several on the pitch. So any good work that he did do with the infrastructure, which none of us can say that he didn't, he did balance the books. He went further than balancing the books. He increased all these revenue streams, and a lot of CEOs are probably quite jealous of what Daniel Levy has done, because they probably wish that they had all these revenue streams coming in like Levy has. Levy was ahead of the curve with these kind of things. It's just a shame that he never had somebody next to him of a footballing background who he really, really trusted he can turn to. He obviously knew, a part of him knew that he needed it, because look how many, as Rain said, look how many director of football we went through. How many have we gone through? We've gone through as many director of footballs nearly as we have managers. Frank Arneson was the first one. He lasted 18 months and then he pissed off to Chelsea. Connolly came in. And then I've lost track after that because there's been so many. And nearly all of them have either fallen out with him or have more or less turned around, as Rain said, and said to him, mate, I can't do this like you want me to do it. It's not viable. What you're asking is not viable. We can't have success with this strategy. And I don't want to know anymore. Or Levy fired them. Either they left by their own accord because they couldn't work with a man, or he fired them.
The only one that did was Paratici. He was the only one that actually Levy listened to.
Levy might have listened to him, but we all know that could have ended up being the same before, fortunately, he had to disappear for a couple of years because of obviously what happened. So we don't know if that would have ended up the same. We'll never know that. We'll never have that answer.
No,
the Levy's legacy, Dermo, is one of maintenance and failure. But
I agree.
He solidified us financially for a good long while. But one thing I do want to fire back on Harry and Rain a little bit, or I have to disagree with him a little bit. They're right when it comes to the transfer fees. Where they're not right is when it comes to the wages.
Yeah,
for all the money we spent on the fees, 100%. The wages lets us down for everything, because we were not prepared to up the wages of other clubs, and that has massively held us back.
And players are money merchants. They will go where the money is. If you're going to offer him top wages, they will go there, won't they? It's as simple as that.
It's a short career. So
I think you're spot on. Yeah, I should have said you're right with wages. I think we have an outdated and broken wage structure, which I think is, in my opinion, is the problem with ENIC. It's been, of course, Levy has to take responsibility for it, but I think it's the owners, where you can't attract or retain top players. I'm sorry if you don't pay them enough, and it's wrong. But players, if you said to a lot of our players and a lot of players in football, you can earn, I don't know, 100 grand at Tottenham or go to Liverpool, 300 grand. And let's be honest with you have quite a few players that are in this kind of similar situation where that would be close to reality. They would choose the money. It's as simple as that. It's whether it be a bigger club or it be the money. So this is a big problem. And I'm glad we kept hold of the likes of Romero, but there's some players who want to sign new contracts. Let's be honest with you, Van der Ven. I'm not saying he's money motivated or either of them are money motivated, but it is a factor. It's like with any job. If I'm saying, and I know it's completely different because football's high terms, but okay, let's say 50 grand here or 100 grand here, already you're drawn towards the higher offer. Every single person's going to be the same. I'm sorry. I mean,
It's
I'm not
human
saying you're
nature,
necessarily going to choose it. It's human nature.
Yeah.
It's going to be a big pull factor to pull you in, or a big push factor away from Tottenham, is how I like to describe it. There's a big problem, and you're absolutely right to highlight it. I agree with you.
I just want to add in one thing before we finish up. There is a bit of news around today now. I'm waiting for an update. I sort of did get an update, but I'm waiting for a bigger update from it. It's that Tottenham are expected to take on a 500 million deal after AII sponsor announcement. Now, anyone that's been living under a rock might not have known this, but all Spurs fans do, that our shirt sponsors, AIA, will not be shirt sponsors at the end of next season. I think it's next season, isn't it, guys? I think it runs out. And so Tottenham will be looking for a new Spurs. Okay, no problem. What was I saying?
Sponsor.
Yeah, so
shirt sponsor.
my understanding is that AIA are going to transition to the training pitch.
Yeah, training. But yeah, that was it. Cheers, thank you, Rayman. Spot on. But also in that article, which I did get it confirmed today, that Tottenham's next shirt sponsor will be linked in with the naming rights for the stadium. It's going to be a 10-year deal worth over $500 million or pounds or whatever. So just one word answer. We will go into depth in this probably in another episode because I'd like to get the four of us again to do another show because I think I've really enjoyed tonight. I really have. Tequila, look, we can all guess or estimate where this might come from. There's a couple of countries, America, probably China, and the Middle East are probably involved in it. If you can pick one country, where do you think it's going? Where do you think it's coming from?
Do you mean what I want, or what do I think? Or what
do you think? Well, what do you want? Firstly, very quickly, what do you want?
I'd like a local investment of a proper Spurs, of what I would consider a proper Spurs. Basically, I want the Spurs Jack Walker demo. I know there. I don't think there is one, but that's what I want.
Well,
I don't
Joe
think there
Lewis
is one.
Joe Lewis is.
No, he's on his. He barely knows what a Spurs is. He's on his yacht, pissed out of his brain with a different woman every night. That's where Joe Lewis is.
Allegedly,
and lots of Viagra. Don't come after me, Joe. I know you can hire assassins. That's what I want. I want a Spurs Jack Walker, right? I know there isn't one. I don't expect to be, but that's what I want. What do I think? I think it will be American because I think the NFL stuff's going to really kick in. That's just.
And the name for the stadium, if you could pick one.
Oh God. I if it's something like Amazon, I'd be okay with like the Amazon Stadium. I quite like that name, but not something like the Google OnlyFans stuff like that. I wouldn't say that. The Durex Stadium always comes up to. I'll just get out of the way. The Durex Stadium because somebody's going to mention it. There you go.
Yeah, where you can go and relax after the game with a cigarette and go and lie down in the bed. Rayman, look, same question to you, Bod. Last question of the show. Then get Harry's thoughts, and I'll give my quick thoughts, and then we'll find out where everyone can be found. You, where's it coming from? What will the name of the stadium be?
So look, it's either coming. It's going to have to come from a consortium.
Yeah,
because it's too much money for one investor. Even the big funds won't do that outlay in one hit. Even they will look to hedge and go in with other partners. I suspect. I do think the NFL link is too strong. I think that has been underused, and I think somebody in America or a group in America look across. There's been there's been so much American investment in UK football, not just Premier League. And I think they will look across and they'll think there's an opportunity here. There's an entertainment venue here that we can leverage. And if they've got a direct connection with NFL, all the better.
Yeah. So, what's the name of the stadium going to be? Do you think?
I think it's going to be the X Stadium.
Interesting. Harry, where are you going with it, bud? Somebody that's down with all the youth today and all the late. It's not old farts like us three. You're in the hood. You're looking like you're going with the youngsters. So what's your antenna pushing you to?
You should see me trying to download a link. Someone sent me a WeTransfer link the other day. You should see me trying to do it like an old man. But is this what we want or what we think? Because there's a bit of a difference, I think.
It's what do you think? Where do you think the investment may come from, and what do you think the name of the stadium? Because if it's going to be linked, then it's going to be the same, isn't it? It's going to be the same as the shirt, a bit like Man City. So, what do you think the name of the stadium will be? And
firstly, I'm willing.
Where do you think it'll come from?
Yeah. Sorry, a bit of delay on my end. Apologies. I think that
That's okay.
I'll be happy to give ENIC. I think I would say one more chance. The January window's not enough. I agree with Tequila this summer. I'll be happy to give. How do we put this? ENIC another year in terms of the 2026, the proper year. For me, that's what I would preferably choose. And of course, you want money pumped into the club. I'm very wary of where that comes from and the effect of a lot of different things without going into too much detail. So that's something I'm aware of. I don't think there's a lot as well of clubs to be willing to pay the valuation of Tottenham. Let's be real. Let's be honest with that. I think I'd like it to be called the White Hart Lane or the New Lane or something like that. Something that enriches the history and something that's also modern. I personally go to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and I can't say how much it frustrates me that it just feels like a really neutral venue. And you've only got to be not all the ticket, and you would not be in front of you wouldn't know. And that is the problem. It needs to be clear. Tottenham needs to be through it. And I know we've got some bits, but I just think you could do so much more with the stadium to make it kind of ours. That other clubs have done. So that's disappointing. I think if I had to predict where will investment come from, it's difficult. Of course, where the money is. Will it come from there? It's difficult. I think the club will be very careful where it comes from. I personally see it coming from maybe somewhere like Qatar. I don't think it will be, in particular, maybe Qatari sports investment, though. I don't see that happening. It would be linked to other clubs. It's difficult to really say, Dom. I think there will be some kind of investment. I don't see ENIC going anywhere. I don't think what they're saying is a bluff. I don't think he's trying to increase the valuation of the club. No. I genuinely think they're here for at least the next few years or so. I think that is the case. And I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing right now because where you stand. I think it needs to do a lot more, needs to be more ambitious, raise the bar. Don't get me wrong, but it's what I call the safe option. And Newcastle, for example, Saudi owners, but they haven't really been able to unleash that spending because of the stadium. So it's not always about getting the owners in. There are a lot of restrictions and regulations. Sometimes you're better sticking what you have, but also just challenging them to do more. And I like the look of this board, Paratici coming back, Vinay coming in. So I still tell myself that, it'll be optimistic. It should be optimistic, I should say, and hopefully we get it right. But it's hard to predict, isn't it? We don't really know. Because we sat here, by the time the show, gets to some people, maybe tomorrow, a lot happens with Tottenham. Things change around, boom, really quickly.
It does. Anything can happen. Look, for me, I think I agree with Rain, man. Rain is going to come from America. I think the NFL link is too strong. I do agree with that. For the naming rights, I've got a sneaking feeling. So on one hand, I agree with Rain that it might come with the NFL, but my head's telling me something else, that it may come from the Middle East and Amoco. Might be called the Amoco Stadium. I just have this sneaking feeling it might be that. No, I'm with you. I wish they called it White Hart Lane or the New Lane or something like that. Or start calling the stands after Bill Nick and Keith Birkinshaw and after Rowe or after famous players. I think we don't do enough. Yes, the club are now going to start putting statues up. Thank God. But look, that's where I think it's going. But guys, that is it. That's the end of the show. I hope you've enjoyed it. I want to say quickly big up to Stephen, who was on the show for the pre-match show, Man United as well. So big up to you, Stephen. I hope you're doing well. Do guys pick up your memberships? We do have a couple of giveaways. We've got the yellow third kit to give away and the black away kit to give away as well. So do pick up your memberships. The draw for that will be taken in the first show in December. If you're a member, you cannot apply. If you are a member, you're in with the draw. So do that. Tequila, very quickly, where can people find you, bud? And thank you for coming on again. I know you used to own a football club over in South London. I know you do a lot on Talk Sport these days with
I might have mentioned that I own that club a couple of times.
And I did see you talking to Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank this morning. Very well done, by the way, I have to say, how you handled them. But where can people find you, bud?
Obviously, you can find me on here, and you can find me at the Play Pouch, which is a bunch of 40-year-old nerds, other than me, because I'm cool.
Yeah.
And Com, who's not quite 40, but they'll be there soon, just playing some games. Got South Park coming up, I believe, on Sunday, was the last I heard. It'll be late, though, because of all the nasty words and rudeness of that game. Can I just say, big up to Rain Man's poster in the background, put as a creation. Love it, my friend. Love it.
And before we get to you, Rain, I know, Harry, you've got to jump because you've got problems over at somewhere else. So where can people find you quickly, bud?
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
So who did you say? My bad, damn it.
No, go on. Where can people find you? Because I know you got to jump.
Sorry. Firstly, thank you very much for having me. I'm sorry I had to jump off earlier. It's the first Premier League podcast of the season. I've got two new young hosts doing it, and they've got a few issues in the comment section with hosting. So I've been called 1,000 times on here, but I've really enjoyed it. It's been great, and it's been great to be on. I believe for the first time with you both. So
yeah,
it's a real honour to share the stage with you. I think you both put across some really good ideas, sometimes differences in opinions, but I always like coming on different shows. You hear that different perspective, and I try and be open-minded. I'm not one of them that tries to shut myself away, and always open to admitting I'm wrong. I've certainly learned that. But no, honestly, great. You're a great host, two fantastic guests here, and wish the channel all the best. And I'd love to come back on again. So thank you.
Yeah, we'll definitely have her on again, and definitely. Tequila, anything you want to say to Harry before he pops off?
No, the first time I met you, Harry. Big up, mate. You're really knowledgeable for your age, mate. I am impressed.
Thank you, and I agree with you a lot. What you said tonight, I think you're spot on. By the way,
cheers, bro.
There you go. See, Tequila's got a new fan. Big up to you, big up to you, Harry. Please go over to Harry Scarf, and Harry will put the link into your chat when you pop off, and that so people know where to get you.
That's very kind. Thank you.
See you later,
no
Harry.
problem. See you later, Rayman, the man that is the myth, the legend. He is. Can I just quickly say it is Remembrance Sunday, by the way. If you're wondering what Rain was wearing, do you want to explain to people what you're wearing? I'm Irish, so I have a different vineyard. So
okay, I'm wearing my poppy.
Yeah.
Is this not? This isn't a universal. No, this isn't a universal thing.
No.
So we wear. The Royal British Legion has a poppy appeal. It's their major annual fundraiser. So we all go and we spend a little bit of money. Give a little bit of money to charity to have our poppy, and it goes to fund support for veterans and those types of charities. The reason it's a poppy is during World War One. There was a very famous Battle of the Somme, in I believe it's Belgium. When lots of young men died on both sides, on all sides, and the fields were after the events and afterwards were covered with red poppies, and so that's why they use this symbol. As on Armistice Day,
which is today, actually, isn't it? Which is today, isn't it? Yeah,
11th to the 11th. I mean, it's this day is looked at worldwide, isn't it? In America they call it Veterans Day. Throughout the what used to be the British Empire. It's generally called Armistice Day, and it's always been a day for me when I remember some of my family. I've got personal connections who were involved in World War II and subsequently in other wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's worth remembering, isn't it? It's worth remembering and saying thank you. Look, me being Irish, a lot of Irish people lost their lives in the First and Second World War as well. So yeah, it touches every society around the world, I think, in one way or the other. Big day for us here in Ireland. Just, I know we're going off topic a little bit, but we had our president took her oath today. President of Ireland, Catherine Connolly, took over from Michael Dewey Higgins, our 10th Irish president. So a big day for us here in Ireland. And everyone was there. So, a new president. She's in for 7 years, and I wish her all the very best of luck. Really pleased for her. Did vote for her as well in the presidential election, so I'm quite chuffed she won.
She gets 7 years, Dermo.
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, she gets 7 years.
I could make a Trump joke, but I'm just not going to go there right now.
It's not politically. She's not anything political, but she's still the head of state, and she's the head of the army as well. But like, if anyone famous comes, she goes to all the sporting events and all the famous people. So yeah, that was today. So, which is a big thing for us. It's our 10th president, and we're only a young nation compared to everyone else around the world. We're only just over 100 years old. So we've packed a lot. We've packed a lot in over the last 100 years. Raymond, where can people find you, bud? Can they find you on X?
In chat.
In chat. And sometimes on here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I go on quite a few streams these days. But yeah, Jen, you'll find me in lots of chat. Lots of chats.
You see, as a member, you get to come on shows as well. Range shows you. As a member, you get to come on. Well, guys, we're not on tomorrow night, but do go over to Double Down Gaming if you can at 8 o'clock, where me and James will be playing FM Manager 26 for a couple of hours. So do join us over there. Thursday, we're back on with the Ireland game. Of course, we're going to see, can the mighty Ireland beat Portugal? And that's all she wrote. And then on Friday, I'll be looking back, and we've got the we've got Friday. Friday, we've got the North London podcast where we talk all things North London Derby, and then we all build up. Then I'm on JYS on Saturday evening to join them for the boxing stream they're doing for the Eubank Conor Ben fight. And then Sunday, I will be covering the Ireland game in the afternoon, and just really put myself through more misery watching us lose away to Hungary. Why do I do it to myself? Because I think Ireland are going to qualify for a World Cup. It ain't going to happen.
You need to get Stephen Kenny. You need to get Stephen Kenny back, Demo.
On that bombshell, we leave it there. Do you want to take us out as you usually do, bud?
What are you talking about, mate? I don't normally do that, mate. Just who I am, mate. Just who I am.
Good night.